Minasan, Hokari Nasai. Today I will be covering everything that the Bangdream girls do outside of Bangdream. And I actually will not be covering anything that the girls do within Bushiroad related events in general. So no Bangdream, Revy Starlight, Assault Lily, and even D4DJ as well, even if it's not technically Bushiroad anymore. However, a lot of these girls are in Idolmaster, so I will have a little dedicated section specifically to that in a few minutes. But I will mostly go over anime roles, music, and photo shoots. I will also not be covering every single girl in the franchise. People who are in D4DJ like Ryochi, Sumo, and Nishio will not be featured here, so I have more to discuss in the D4DJ video. Plus this video is already going to be massive. I will however be going over all of the Poppin Party girls and lead singers of each band, even if they are in other franchises. The Hibiki agency, which has a lot of Bushiroad ladies, once again released a statement telling people to stop harassing their talent, mostly pointed towards Amane Shindo, who people still seem to harass for some fucking stupid reason. Oops, I swore, keeping it in anyway. There was also the Hibiki Fest, having Ayase Ito, Chiharu, Hikaru Tono, Mikoe Sasaki, Yuzuki Watase, Ruka Fukugawa, Rin Tataishi, Aina Aiba, Ribi Nishimoto, and Yuga Nishio. Those are all people in the agency, if that wasn't obvious enough. But there was no Izumi, Aimi, Amane, or Mimori. And this was before Mimori moved over to America, so some odd choices there. I guess they were just too busy. However, all of the currently active members were at the 15th anniversary festival. Over at the Nagano Eni era, Aina Aiba was there as a performer, and then Riko Kohara and Kanan Shizaki were there as radio guests. There was a huge drama reading called Nekotan that had many people in it. The Bangdream girls include Ayaka Ohashi, Haruka Kudo, Riko Sasaki, and Moi Toyota. Then over at Animax Musics, we had Miku and Ohashi for the spring event, and then Aimi and Sumipi for the fall event. Sumire not being a solo performer, but instead acting as a character from one of her anime. Over at the main Anisama show, we had Aimi, Miku, and Moishi with her Hibike castmates. For the special Anisama in Shanghai event, we had Ohashi and then Miku again. On the Crossing Covers YouTube channel, no one from Bandori was there, but recently in 2025, Satome Akaisaka actually was there singing a Hitman Reborn song, which is a very important series to her, and she is very important to a lot of people, even if she's not in Roselia anymore. And thus, I decided to include this anyway. Over on Any Song the Show with Masayoshi Oishi and Airi Suzuki, we had Ayaka Ohashi having her second time on the show, singing Ash Like Snow from Gundam 00, and then Risa Sumagi was there singing Undead from the Monogatari series, low-key doing it better than Yoasobi does. And now we have Idolmaster having many ladies in the Bushiroad franchises in its ranks, starting with Cinderella Girls and their Starlight Fantasy Live, having Ohashi and Nakashima for both days. There was also the unit tour having Nakashima again with her unit Sola Iris, though surprisingly Ohashi wasn't there for this one. And in 2025, Cinderella Girls will have their 10th anniversary tour, 5 shows throughout the year going all the way until September, although we only know the cast members for the first 4 shows. And assuming all goes well, Ohashi will be at both days for Osaka, Yuki will be at both days for Fukuoka, and Sumipi will be there on day 1 for Tokyo. The successors to Cinderella Girls, Million Live, their 10th show had 4 parts to it, split into acts, which was mostly in 2023, but Act 4 was early in 2024, having Miku and Aimi, as well as Azusa Tadokoro, only being there on day 2. Then the 11th Live was supposed to happen in November, but had to be rescheduled due to people getting COVID. Insane how that's still going around. Whenever it does happen, the cast list seems to be Azusa and Aimi on day 1, and then Miku on day 2. And another idol franchise to talk about is Uma Musume Pretty Derby. Their 5th live tour, having its 3rd part, subtitled Yell, with Ayase Ito being there on day 1, and then part 4, New Gate, had Ayasa again, along with Sumipi and Soratokui on day 2. While day 1 of this 4th part had Ohashi, and she was also with the group at the Inazuma Rock Fest, and our former Roselia lady, Satome Akesaka, was there as the announcer for everything I just mentioned. Now for the girls themselves, Aimi released a new album titled Live It Now, the track Meritocracy being the ending theme for the banished former hero Lives As He Pleases, where she also had a role, but a little more on that at the end of her section. She was at the King Super Live, which is her label by the way, had a 3-show live tour in the summer, named after her new album, Live It Now, which is a best of album by the way, I forgot to mention that, having a bunch of various promotional events for it as well. Then aside from Idolmaster, another music franchise she's in is Paradox Live. They had their Dope Show event. Dope name, as well as the 2-man show later in the year, and she was also in the Milgram Live early in 2024. So I did say that Aimi was at Animax Musics for the fall edition, but it was technically with Poppin Party. However, I did say her specifically because she had a duet with Konami Suzuki covering a song from One Piece Film Red. She joined Girls' Frontline, and then a bunch of other smaller mobile games like Last Memories, which I noticed a lot of Seiyu have been joining recently, so maybe that game is getting popular over in Japan. She was on one of the covers for Voice Stars magazine in July, and featured in AniPass magazine in August. Her YouTube channel is still going strong, as is her variety show with Haruka Yamazaki. And she had a little fan meet tour starting in December, which might still be ongoing. Then as for anime, she had these 4 roles, nothing too big, being in Love Live Nijigasaki, and also part of the new cast for Demon Lord Retry. In 2025, she's already got the 2 shows at the top, one of them even currently airing. With Ayase Ito, she was the only Bandori girl to be part of the Joyu project this year. Also making her debut at the Pretty Derby Lives that I mentioned earlier, and debuting into the game Goddess of Victory Nikkei. She was a guest over at Maho Tomita's music event, also their team won during Review Starlight Sports Day. Hell yeah. Then she had her own birthday event and was part of the Segura event where ladies dressed up as train conductors. Her, along with Mikoi Sasaki and Aimi, Team Y, their YouTube channel is still going very strong, and they had a few fan meets throughout the year. One of which even being in Korea, and they performed at the Miyako Premium Live recently, with Ayasa also serving as MC. There was also that very recent band event where the girls played some instruments, but Ayasa and Aimi were not on their regular ones. Really hope this becomes accessible somewhere because I really want to see Aimi on the drums. With anime, Ayasa actually had a whole bunch, though I'd say the only things worth mentioning are her lead in Plus Sized Elf and being in the new season of Arifueta. Currently airing, she's got a new season of Card Fight, and she joined something called The Medalist. And at some point, there will be the bowling anime Turkey, which I feel like we've been waiting for like 2 years now. Hayaka Ohashi had her second fan meet in Korea, also having a mini live there. She was a guest at AFA Indonesia and the Inazuma Rock Fest, though the Rock Fest was with Pretty Derby, as I said earlier. She had the new tracks Oishi Serenade and Henkaku Delight, also her 4th album Reflection, having an Asia tour with the same name. Being at the Toshima Beer Fest, I don't think she's much of a drinker, but I'm sure it was still a fun experience for her. She won an award with the Seiyu Grand Prix Company, being this year's most adorable Seiyu. Damn right, well deserved. Also being on a cover of Love Megane magazine with Seriko. Aside from the other Pretty Derby stuff, I guess I forgot to mention that she was also at the Pretty Derby Winning Live event. And she was a guest over on Pixis Radio as well as Yuki Megu TV, 2 of my favorite things to watch. Oh, and shoutouts to her throwing the first pitch at a Seibu Lions game. She actually didn't have all that much anime this year, her only lead being in Blue Archive. Other shows worth mentioning are being in Synduality and Hibike. And now we have Sai Otsuka. She had the EP Great Romance Road, having old singles on this new EP, along with 2 more tracks, Aquapaza and Love Dream Adventure. She had her 3rd solo live, a 1-man piano live, and a birthday live titled Cruising. Being a guest at Summer Sonic and having some other smaller events like a newer one called Drawn to You, being there with Love Live's Yuina. She began her own 30-minute weekly radio show on Yokohama Radio titled Romance Port Night, having her friends on as guests throughout the year, and then just posting a lot to her YouTube. But the last thing for her is something big. She actually left her D4DJ unit Rondo, I assume, to focus on her solo activities. And last for Poppin, we have Rimi Nishimoto. She was in a play known as Elementary Education Royale. Hopefully the translation is right there. It sounds pretty cool, and it looks like she had a lot of fun. Her other group, Undercode, had their 3rd single, and then she started her own The Road to Nishimo Rock Nico Nico show. Also, just going to mention that she had a couple of Assault Lily stage plays, as well as her own birthday live and various DJing events at clubs and smaller venues over the year. And last for her, shoutouts to her getting married to Momo Yokoyama. I don't know who I'm more jealous of here. On to Roselia and their lead singer Aina Aiba, who actually had a new single release titled Reasons, and I actually enjoy this track very much. She was a guest at the Team Y fan meet in March, and then joining them later in the year with Chiharu all dressed up as the Emotions from Inside Out. She was also the very first guest on Rimi's rock event Nico Nico show. She went over to Universal Japan with Yuki, and they went to the One Piece show. There was some modeling for Geki Rock, and as always, she had a fun little birthday event involving some cosplaying. And then just a bunch of random various things not very accessible to us outside of Japan. But there was also some wrestling stuff, ring announcing and whatnot. As for anime, she only had 2 roles in My Instant Death Ability and Tasuketsu. Lead guitarist Haruka Kudo had her new album Welcome to Huma Rhythm, with a big shoutouts to the track K to the D, H to the R. Great title. She had a birthday live and then a fan club live way later in the year, having 2 parts. Seiyuu was day 1, and then day 2 was Let's Go to KDHA Land, which I had to double check because I initially typed KDHR Land, her nickname, and what she usually names stuff, but this is named after her fan club, I guess, which is indeed KDHA. There was a stage play called Parallel, as well as Liar Game Murder Mystery and Gensho Ranpo, and then the more recent Bobo Bobo stage. Hell yeah. And as I said earlier, being in the Nekotan drama reading with many other beautiful ladies. But also a recent Tokyo Culture event. Not quite sure what it is, but there are some very pretty ladies with her. And I like pretty ladies, so I'm mentioning it and showing it to you. Just like last year, she had many weekly Review Starlight radio streams. And like with Ayasa, she was part of the winning team for the Sports Day Festival. And for a little bonus, she updated her Twitter X profile picture, and I think it is a very good photo. As for 2025, she's got an event very early in the year with Love Live's Ai Furihata. The 2 of them are actually very good friends and have been for a while. With anime, she only had a role of Shiro Akaza in the Yakuza Fiancé show. I couldn't find a picture, so here's Kuroharu instead. The pianist Kanan Shizaki had a new song La Luna, as well as Preserved Flower and Persona, all being wonderful tracks, also posting some covers to her YouTube channel. She was a guest over on Nishio and Karachi's radio show for a special live that they had, and then playing Yukimegu TV. Totally cheating while playing Uno. That deck was totally rigged, like look at this hand she has. There was also a reading with Mayholic Theater titled The Angel Left Behind in the Art Room, shoutouts to Ayakasua, and then she had a few fan events, one even being in China. Lastly, having a digital photo book with MyGO magazine titled Eyes on Me, also being featured in the regular MyGO magazine volume 41. And here's just more pictures of her because I think she's one of the prettiest girls ever to exist. The bassist Yuki Nakashima came to Canada for Animathon in Edmonton. She released a hard copy photo book, Yuki no Album, but also a digital only book titled After the Rain. Then she had a big birthday event with quite a few special guests, as well as a fan event not too long ago with some of her Roselia girls. She even attended a live for Aika Kobayashi and was featured in the Seiyu Grand Prix magazine in November. That was the whole train conductor event, by the way. She also emceed for a Weiss Schwarz and Project Sakai collab event. With anime, she had 4 new roles in Tatsuketsu, Days of My Stepsister, Nare Nare Cheer for You, and Loner Life in Another World, 2 of which being leads. Good for her. Here in 2025, more Cardfight Vanguard, and she will be in the Project Sakai movie. Then Yukimegu TV is still having weekly uploads and with a whole bunch of fun guests. That is her YouTube gaming channel with the next lady, by the way, in case you didn't know. That being drummer Megu Sakuragawa, who was at a Luminous Lodge event. And just being at a whole bunch of other events DJing like Yankee Rock, Any Rave, Kimchi Kura, and Niku Fest. But then also a newer event, a really cool one, a whole show hosted by Kotori Koiwai titled Kotori Fest. Then being a guest at Anime Japan for an Elements Garden Talk event, which is like a big ensemble of musicians, of which Meguchi is not a part of, so I don't know why she was there. Maybe it was just to share her own experiences as a musician. Anyway, her alongside Kuroharu were guests at the Lunacy 35th Anniversary Live. She went over to Nintendo World with some of her Roselia mates, and as always a handful of Gunvolt events throughout the year, as well as some ambassador stuff for her hometown. Next up is Reza Suilen. Just a reminder that Sumigi and Karachi will be featured in the next video focused on D4DJ and Red Star performers. Fun enough, of which both of them are in both franchises. Anyway, starting off with our lead guitarist here, Riko Kohara. She had some DJing events for Geki Rock. 3 of them in fact, one of them being a special Halloween event. And she also had an event for Any Song Disco. Fairly recently, she did some modeling for the LTA fashion company, looking phenomenal. And for a super random fact, while visiting her hometown, she actually got interviewed by the news people to comment about the weather. Bro was totally low-key a fan and just wanted to talk to her. She had her own little fan event thing, I think it was for her fan club, with Ryochi and Mayu Sagara as guests. She also began a live stream with Kanan Shizaki, which I do believe is once a month, having a recent Senran Kagura event, and as always, lots of gaming. One of the most active gamers in the industry, for streaming to fans at least. This year, her big playthroughs were The Last of Us, Limbo, and Ace Attorney. Like Kuroharu, she also recently updated her profile picture, which I want to show to you all. And like Rimi Nishimoto, Riko also got married. in this case to Moishi. Again, I don't know who I'm more jealous of in this situation. Moving on to the best drummer in the franchise, Natsume. She started a TikTok and was very active on her YouTube, streaming some Power Wash Simulator, but also the Watermelon Game, Until Dawn, Little Nightmares, and even some Girls Band Party. She did some modeling with Kingly Mask as well as LTA, and honestly not too much else. A lot of Viking stuff. Between that and drumming, she probably has a very fit figure. But I guess I'll also mention there was a little event called Game Battler, which she was a part of with a bunch of D4DJ ladies. Then just for some bonuses, here's a picture of her old school game collection that she showed off, as well as her drumsticks all beat up after practicing for the Rasp Pandemonium tour. Next up, we have the Goddess lead singer, Rachel, being super active on her YouTube, posting a lot of covers and whatnot. She had a birthday live with some Ace Crew girls as guests. That's her agency, by the way. There was also a live tour titled Scent, having Mei Okada on as a special guest, who was also in that same agency. Scent also serving as a title for her new EP, having the new single Escape, and very soon, in like a week or so, she will have a mini album titled Bonnie. She was even a featured artist for one of the debut tracks from Risa Sumagi. Non-music related things include the reading drama titled The Makioka Sisters, as well as a short film titled Infinity Scale, again with Mei Okada, a trailer of which can be found here on the tube from the Ace Crew label channel. On to the Butterfly Ladies of Morfonica. Just a reminder that Nishio will be covered in the next video. Amane Shindo, however, being the lead singer, will be covered in this one. She unfortunately had to suffer more harassment, with her agency stepping in threatening legal action. But on a more positive note, she was in a TV drama called Sabae is Just a Friend, also being in a new Kamen Rider series, and did some promotions for some goods. She had a digital photo book titled Crazy About You. She was in Weekly Flash magazine twice, then Weekly Young Jump and Brody magazines throughout the year. She had a fan meeting in Shanghai, as well as this event or something with Sunko titled Nescape. Not entirely sure what it is, but there was a photo book of sorts involved. Then, of course, her Amanebu Nico program is still ongoing. Oh, and she cut her hair a few months ago. It looks great, and I wanted to show it off. Her anime really just includes card fight stuff, but really soon she'll be in season 2 of the 100 Girlfriends show. The lead guitarist and former school teacher Hina Sakuta had her solo singing debut with the track Lavender Blue, also having her second single My Truth and her third single Bakadana. There was also her first live, Sings, in May. Her Seiyu unit that she's been part of for a while, as PR5, sadly had their final concert. Shoutouts to Aguri Onishi. Hina did some modeling for the Geki Rock fashion company, and she visited Malaysia for a convention, as well as Japan Weekend in Spain. That must have been very exciting for her. And towards the end of the year, she started doing some promotional events for anime she's in. Anime like Loner Life in Another World, but also a lead in Descent of a Goddess. At some point in 2025, there should be a new season of My Dress Up Darling. Oh, and her game channel with her best friend Chiharu is still ongoing. I think it was originally available on YouTube, but now it might be Nico Nico only. As for drumming Sensei Mika, as I said earlier, she was one of the Ace Crew agency guests for Rachel's birthday live, but also just performing as a drummer for Ray's band during some other live events, and then just being a drummer for various groups and performers. She was a guest at a couple of smaller musical events, and as always, she had her drum lesson sessions. Next is the lovely Miss Violinist, Ayasa Shimamura, who doesn't have too much going on as she is more musician than Seiyu and just does various smaller events throughout the year. But she was on the first take, providing her violin skills while Hiroshi Kitadani sang the first One Piece opening. That's really cool and must have been a huge honor for her. Then she had her own solo violin show and even a little tour, having a show in Beijing, as well as being a guest at the Ebina City Music Festival. And like I said earlier, just a bunch of other smaller, inaccessible things for us. But the band that she formed not too long ago, East of Eden, had 2 new singles, Judgment Syndrome and Chasing the Moon, both being on their new EP, Forbidden Fruit, second piece. Pretty sure they had some music videos for a track or two as well. The group was a guest at some smaller events like Metrock, but also having their first live, also titled Forbidden Fruit. Great name, very fitting. Later even having their first anniversary live too. Her band also actually got a new bassist named Mina, which is a little bit of a bummer. I really liked Waka. Anyway, as a solo artist, she had 2 EPs, a Fraction 3 and a Fraction 4, each having 3 tracks on them. And now we have MyGO and their lead singer Hina Yomiya, who won a Seiyu Award for Rookie of the Year. She had a drama reading for a story called Starry Town, or Starry City, kind of translated as both. She had a little photo shoot with Seiyu Grand Prix, and even being on the cover for one of their magazines. She is still one of the hosts for the weekly A&G Radio program Next Hope, which can actually be viewed here on YouTube. No subs though. And last for her are just various events to promote things she's in, like Goddess Victory Nikkei and the Trapezium movie. Naturally, her being the future legend she is, she's already starting to get lots of roles per year, easily the most of these newer band ladies. Shoutouts to Dangers in My Heart Season 2, Loser Ranger, Yozakura Family, Oshinoko, and Mayonaka Punch. So far for 2025, she is currently in the Ave Mujica series, as with all of the other MyGO girls. Rin Tateishi graduated from college, and she also joined the Seiyuu Esports channel. She started her own YouTube channel where she has done some game streaming, and she even had a little reading drama called Kire Kiss with a bunch of other Hibiki girls. She was a guest at the Tokyo Indie Game Summit, and like her senpai Rimi, she had some events for her other group, Undercode. Mika Kohinata was part of the fun Segura Halloween event, and she was even on the magazine cover for a recent issue. Like her senpai Shizaki, she was a guest for Nishio and Karachi's special live show, was in a stage play called Boys' Secret Club. I don't think she wants to know what that club's about. But there's also some various reading dramas for Mayholic Theater, and she was actually a guest over on Rimi's new Nico show. Rimi is actually Mika's main inspiration, so I'm sure she was very excited for this. Next is Hina Aoki, one of the prettiest ladies around. She was in a new Revstar Sigfeld stage play called Remains. Then, of course, MyGO has many performances over the year, but Aoki by herself was actually a guest at the Summer Sonic Festival, also her own event called Pre-Pyo Sound, kind of named after her nickname of Hinapyo. And then she was one of few people to participate in the Listen Library reading event. Oh, also some cool stuff with Mayholic Theater. The costumes over there are always really cool. And just a little social media reminder, she has continued to post on her TikTok page where she shows off her piano, guitar, and singing skills. She is extremely talented in all three of those, but also even opera singing. A very, very talented lady. So next is drummer extraordinaire and also a future legend, Koko Hayashi. If you already watched the Love Live recap, well then you're just going to hear all of the same stuff, so I recommend skipping maybe a minute and a half. But if you're sticking around, her Love Live group Nijigasaki were part of the big Unit Koshien event, and they finished their 6th tour, and then started and ended their 7th. The 7th was actually just a singular show, not a tour. Also the big Asia tour that the franchise had, with Coco being at a couple of those. She went over to Seattle in America to represent the group at SakuraCon, and then part 1 of their final movie trilogy began to air, with part 2 coming out this year. Pretty sure their Chibi spinoff also had its 2nd season in 2024 as well, and naturally a handful of new tracks, one of which being a new proper single. Aside from the Bangdream shows and the Love Live of course, other anime she's in included a new season of MF Ghost, which is a new Initial D series by the way, and also being in Villainous Level 99. She was also part of this big onsen radio event that featured a bunch of ladies that have programs on their station. Over with the Pretty series, aside from a really big group live in the fall consisting of every series in the franchise. Every franchise in the series? I don't really know how that works actually. Either way, she had another live in April focused on Prepara specifically, and then one in July focused on Kirato Prichan, of which she portrays characters in both. Coco also joined a new franchise called Voice and Stories, becoming part of a group known as Peekaboo, performing as Yoko Hachiken, and they released their debut single, Count 9. Also joining Assault Lily as a live performer, as Kisei Nagasaka, having a handful of stages throughout the year. She was part of a music event called Project Ale, as well as her own birthday live, of which I think is her first. She was also in a stage play called The Moon, Laugh at the Queen, which honestly is probably not what it's called, but the official website Google translated to that, so bear with me. She had a little sports event with some other Seiyu, not sure of the exact details though, also seems like her team lost, but shoutouts to Shio Kisui. Then Coco released her very first photo book, Coco Ichiban, but she also showed a picture of her as a very, very young cutie. And earlier this year of 2025, she will have a new stage play called Yume Kake. The performances may have even already started. I wrote this script like a month ago, so again, just bear with me. I'm a little late on this. Now we are on to Ave Mujica. Once again, Okada and Watase will be in the D4DJ Seiyu video. Kanan Takao, unfortunately, lost the role of Aku in Demon Lord Retry, having Momo Asakura take over. I assume due to studio changes or something really dumb behind the scenes. She wasn't the only one, by the way, the whole cast was replaced. But on a more positive note, she had lots of little events with Aguryo Nishi for their Aguna Nico program, also her radio program with Hina Sakurai, one of Love Live's newest members. Then just some various Isly Pride events and promotions. They even celebrated their 3rd anniversary of the mobile game release, as well as having a live show called the Venus Party. She also had lots of anime roles, trying to rival Yomiya for the generation, continuing her role in Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, but also being in Banished from the Heroes Party, One Room, reincarnated as an aristocrat, Konosuba, the strongest magician in the Demon Lord's army was a human, and a loner life in another world. As for this year, aside from the ongoing Ave Mujica show, she will have a new season of 100 Girlfriends, and the detective is already dead. Riko Sasaki is very quickly moving up the ranks in my personal favorites list. She changed labels to Lantis, that's a big one, having her 7th single Windshifter, this being on that new label and the opening for Rinkai. A couple days ago in 2025, her 8th single, Palette Days, came out, and will actually be the opening for Welcome to Japan, Miss Elf, having roles in both of these shows that she sang for. This is her Rinkai character, and this is the Miss Elf character. She was part of the Big Nekotan reading stage, as well as having a few events for Tokyo 7 Sisters, Pretty Cure, Kiroto Prichan, World Die Star, and then a fan meet in Shanghai, also being in the stage play for Kageki Shoujo. Then to end off like a few other Bandai girls, some stuff with Mayholic Theater. Akane Yonezawa is also much more of a musician rather than a seiyuu or a singer, so she won't have too much going on outside of Ave Mujica. She did have a birthday event though, and a cool thing she did was actually attend a baby metal concert with her lead singer Riko. Also, because I know all of y'all are thirsty, she showed off herself in a swimsuit. Now we're moving on to the supporting cast, starting with Pastel Palettes, and I'm only going to cover 3 of them, with one of them barely being covered, but we're going to start with Ami Maishima. She was featured in AniPass Plus magazine, and also being featured on Sumipi's YouTube channel. She was in a big reading drama called Magical Girl Training Plan Double Shadow, having many other big name ladies in there, like Yoshino Najo, Miyotomita, and Aoi Yuki, just to name a few. Speaking of big, Ami made her solo singing debut with King Records. A lot of good talent over there, including Bandori girls Aimi and Sumipi. Amita having her debut album Determination and writing lyrics for the main track. Her image color is now a light blue that has been her favorite color forever, and it is titled Byakugan. Her first solo live will actually be in April of this year. And last up for her, she joined the weekly FamitsuGame channel, having a monthly appearance and showcasing fun new hairstyles each time. The little cutie Ari Ozawa was a guest over at Amusement Music Festival, also being at King Super Live and a few other smaller events with her group Rise from the franchise Extreme Hearts. Also performing with another group she's in called Chain of Flowers, though I am not quite sure what franchise that is from. And last up, she actually had a fair amount of anime, a new season of Demon Slayer, as well as Fate Grand Order and A Journey Through Another World. And now Sumire Uesaka, just like Amita, she was featured in AniPass Plus, as well as her 10th anniversary special photo book. Had a fan meet in Hong Kong, had her Sumire Best Tour 2024 titled Grand Theory of Sumipi, being a guest over at Anime Expo in LA.
I'm in AX Anime Expo. Next, King Record Panel. Let's go.
Also at the Chojigen Winter Show, as well as Segura Fest, King Record Live, and Animax for the Fall Edition. For this one in particular, she wasn't acting as herself, but rather a character for an anime that she's in with Kaede Hondo. Also taking some funny pictures with her pretty derby friends. She had her best of album, Sumire Catalog, featuring all of her bangers, of which she has many, but also featuring the new track, First Period. But then she also had a new proper single, Dear Patere, the ending for the new season of Shaman King. Pretty sure there was a live album version of her 2023 concert that came out in 2024 as well. She had a stage play for the series Gegege no Kitaro and spent a lot of time in the second half of the year with Kaede Hondo for some various events. Mostly for the anime that I mentioned earlier, but also she co-hosted TV's Yoasobi with Yu Serizawa. Then another big career accomplishment, her second Seiyu Award, this time for being Influencer of the Year. Then her weekly live streams on her YouTube, having a new music video on there, and uploaded some live performance songs as well. As always, she's a heavy hitter when it comes to anime, being in the Amagami show with Eide-san, being in the new Shaman King, Continuing her tenure as Lum in the new Urasai Yatsura, a new season of Cafe Terrace, the Pretty Derby movie, Spirit Chronicles Season 2, and apparently voicing Google Chrome in a series of short videos from Google Japan to promote the web browser. Currently, at the top there, as you can see, she only has 2 shows lined up for 2025. Next up, the Carnival Ladies of Hello Happy World, starting with Azusa Tadokoro. She had a live event for the anime Masamune's Revenge with the rest of the main cast, who are all god-tier Seiyu, and half of which are actually Bandori girls. There's the Pretty Derby show that I mentioned before, their 5th live, only being on day 1 of the Yale show in Tokyo. Then day 2 of Idolmaster Million Live 10th Tour Act 4 in Kanagawa. She looks great in that outfit. As a solo act, she had an acoustic live in the summer, as well as a follow-up in Seoul, Korea during the autumn season. She had the new EP Ivory, and then a Zep tour recently, as well as a show in a few weeks. Actually, it might have happened already. As I said, I wrote the script last month. Then, because I always have to mention my favorite gaming franchise, Azusa continued her playthrough of Resident Evil Village and did the Shadows of Rose DLC, even having Ohashi on her channel as a guest for an episode, but they played a different game. She even actually had a little live event with Ayaka as well. The two are very close friends, by the way. Then Azusa alone went over to Paris, I think just for a pleasure trip. Her anime include new seasons of Slime and Hibike, being in Shadowverse and Nare Cheer for You, also actually joining Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, currently being in a show that's called Anyway, I'm Falling in Love with You, which looks like a Honeywork show. And for this year, she has already released a calendar book. Miku Ito was a guest at the Fest 802 palette for the Radio FM 802 station. As for her own show, a 4-show tour in June and July titled From Now On. After it finished, she released a memorial photo book consisting of pictures from the tour. She had her 12th single, now on air, the opening for Seiyuu Radio, was at Anime Japan with some other god-tier ladies, and just a few other events to promote anime she's in, but I'll just mention her and the other quintuplets celebrating the 5th anniversary of the show. She was a guest on the BS11 program in April with this little cutie, also being at this year's Aniplex Online Fest, which I highly recommend you watch if you can. Those events are always on the same level as any Sama in terms of hype. Then, just like the last few years, she also released a calendar book with MyGO magazine, also being featured in Makia magazine. And I know I keep saying how pretty these girls are, but geez, Miku is just so damn gorgeous. She had her weekly live streams on her Team Ito Miku YouTube channel, and then she had a 3-part Pixis fan event to celebrate 9 years of being together. Pixis being her duo unit with the next lady I'll be going over. Real quickly before that, her anime, surprisingly just this page, which does seem like a lot compared to most other girls in the video, but Miku usually has way more. I guess she was just chilling for 2024. The only thing that didn't fit in the screenshot was her being in Synduality Noir, but also being in God's Game We Play, Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night, Not a Cheer for You, and the movie Give It All, and of course the new Quintuplets TV special. For 2025, as you can see, she is currently in Season 2 of Ishura. Now we have Miku's Pixis sister and her best friend, Moe Toyota. She had a new photo book simply titled Moe. There are no words to describe this lady. Yummy and delicious can only explain so much. Speaking of those words, Moishi was a guest on another delicious lady, Chiaki Takahashi's Lady Luck program. She even helped produce Erika Ishitobi's photo book as well. She had a live in-person radio show, an event for the SecondShot Company, and then a birthday show. I think a smaller audience like this is actually so much better than a giant venue. It's much more personal for the person you're supporting, and these people are a bunch of lucky folks. With anime, she had a new season of Hibike, and having the new Seiyuu Radio show with Miku. Yuri Yoshida is someone we don't really talk about a lot, and that's because she's not all that active, which is very unfortunate because she is very funny and actually very intelligent. However, for her year, she just had her monthly live stream on her Nico Nico channel, having a new season of Hanako-kun and being in Chain Soldier and Unnamed Memory. 2025 will give her yet another season of Hanako-kun, as well as more Unnamed Memory. And now we have Tomoyo Kurosawa, who did some modeling for the Moe's Forest label. Pretty sure this is my first time ever hearing about that company. She had her own live show over in Shanghai, China, and shoutouts to her with Moishi in a video on the Yamaha Japan YouTube channel to promote the Hibike anime. Speaking of Hibike, with the Anisama section at the beginning, I'm pretty sure I only mentioned Moishi, but Tomoyo was there as well, and the two of them, alongside the other two leads, had a smaller fan event as well. As for anime, she had quite a lot, some things of note being Sengoku Yoko, Metallic Rouge, and Loser Ranger. then new seasons of Yodo Camp, Kengan Ashura, and Hibike. And for 2025, she's already got 4 shows lined up. And now the final band of the video, Afterglow. Real quick, we're going to start off with Sachika Misawa. A few Seiyu in Love Live posted about growing 1 centimeter taller, but Sachika posted that she grew 2 centimeters. She's basically a giant now. That's a joke, she's still very tiny. No new anime or music with her, and honestly she really keeps to herself now, so it's hard to keep up with what she's doing. But these next 2, just their anime roles alone, I'm glad I decided to stop mentioning character names and just show you screenshots, because these last 2, holy hell. Let's start off with Ayane Sakura, one of my personal top 10 favorite Seiyu. Moishi and Ohashi are up there too actually. And so is Miku. In fact, all 4 of them and then Reina Ueda make up my top 5. Anyway, back to Sakura. Let's just start off with her anime. I'm not going to show you everything, but I got these 3 screenshots while I talk about her roles. Those worth noting being in Blue Archive, Don Da Don, Hokkaido Gals are super adorable, The Foolish Angel Dances with the Devil, Gundam Seed Freedom, Oshinoko, Fate Grand Order, Bleach 1,000 Year Blood War, MF Ghost, and Ranma 1/2. Having new seasons of My Hero Academia, Quintuplets, Classroom of the Elite, and the Attack on Titan recap movies. For 2025, she's got all of this already, a new season of Da Da Dawn later, but also currently in Sakamoto Days and a new Grisaya series. She was a guest over at Attack Fest, and like with Miku, her and the other quintuplets celebrated the 5th anniversary of the anime. Just gonna call this right now, when it's the 10th anniversary, all 5 of them will open one of the days of Anisama that year. Watch, it'll happen. Just you watch and see that I called it 5 years prior. She was also at the Oregaru Fest with her other Snafu castmates. She actually voiced Cassandra Nova, the main villain in the new Deadpool movie. That's 2 MCU characters for her, the other being Lila in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Sakura also voiced Fio in the newest Ultraman series, and portrayed Devonica in the Osama Sentai King Ogre. Or is it King Ogre? It's usually a soft G, which was technically really late 2023. Then she was on Maiden Magazine for the 4th volume, as well as Maki Magazine in the fall, looking absolutely stunning. Finally for her weekly A&G Radio with the next legend I'll be covering, Yoko Hihasa, who was also a guest at Attack Fest, at Anime Japan and KPF to promote the new season of SAO Gun Gale, at Tokyo Game Show to promote the remaster of Lollipop Chainsaw where she voices the lead character, had a big event to celebrate Rina Hidaka's birthday with some other lovely people. She was also at this year's Aniplex Online Fest and being a guest performer at a Rayona Live. Something super big and really cool, she created her own voice acting agency, I do believe called Inari. There is a space in between it, but I think it's supposed to be like an Inari, which is a fox, a cute mischievous creature, just like Hikasa-san herself. So that's really fitting and super exciting. I'm also really excited to see who's going to join in the coming years. Now let's talk about her anime. Buckle up. Gushing over magical girls, Delicious in Dungeon, Metallic Rouge, Mononoke and Uzumaki, and then new seasons of Danmachi, Shaman King, Kingdom, Shangri-La, a regular at Magic Eye, Code Geass Rose of Recapture, a new Monogatari season, Tower of God, Demon Lord Retry, SAO Gun Gale, and Ari Fueta, which is probably one of her craziest roles that she's ever done, but also debuting into Love Live Superstar, Dragon Ball Daima, and Fairy Tail. That is a lot, and I obviously skipped a bunch. I'm actually super surprised she's not in One Piece yet, probably saving her for some big final villain that hasn't even been shown yet in the manga. Anyway, for 2025, she's already got all of this. Shoutouts to more Dr. Stone and Mononoke. Now, I did say that was the last group, but I do have one more person I would like to cover who's not actually in a band, more of a supporting character. That person being Yuka Ozaki, who actually got married to someone that she has been dating for a while now. She was at a camping car show, whatever that is, also a couple of Rebirth for You events, and one to celebrate 10 years of Kimono Friends. Nice. Pretty sure there was even a new stage a couple of months ago. Double nice. Also gotta mention the stage from Magical Girl Raising Project, playing a lead I would assume, as that is her with the bluish hair in the front left. This anime is one of those Madoka Magica clones where they just beat up the girls for like no real reason. But I definitely want to see the stage play and how she looks on the brink of death. I don't know what that says about me, but yeah. Then aside from all the Revstar stuff she had, just her weekly WADX radio on A&G with these gentlemen, but also having her Ken radio show. As for anime, she only had one role in Rinkai with Riko Sasaki, this show being a women's competitive cycling show, which sounds exhilarating. And with all of that done, we have reached the ending. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope I was able to keep things clear and simple. If you're new here, please do subscribe. There will be a few links down below, but all of the girls with YouTubes and socials I mentioned can easily be found through Google or even their Twitter. Honestly, even just typing their name into the YouTube search bar should help you find what you need. But if you can't, just leave a comment or message me on Instagram and I will do my best to help you. Either way, please join me in the next one, everything the D4DJ Seiyu were up to last year, with some little cameos from Red Star and Assault Lily girls as well. I look forward to seeing you there.